What is the difference between a martial artist and a fighter? This is not going to be a short conversation, so just sit down. Fighters are about effectiveness, and martial artists have better social skills. Let me talk about this right quick. Because I was thinking of why is it, from my experience of over the past few years, do I rub certain martial artists the wrong way? And someone asked me this question. I figured it out a while ago, and I was saving this topic until like maybe my talks get a little bit bigger. But someone asked, and I guess it's time to kind of explain the difference. So let me let's get the ingredients of what this stuff is. So you have business skills, right? Creative intelligence, and then effectiveness and social skills. So the four elements that no one talks about, but we're going to talk about it here. So a fighter, let's talk about a fighter first. A fighter is, and I want you guys, before I get to talking, understand that a fighter is not better than a martial artist, and a martial artist is not better than a fighter. They have different strengths, but no one knows the difference, but I do, and I'm about to let you guys know. So we're going to talk about a fighter first. If you do martial arts, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. A fighter is a no-nonsense type of person. Like, not all fighters are like mega serious, but they really only care about the effectiveness of the martial art. They just come, they don't want to talk. Well, they'll talk. They might joke a little bit. Like, you actually find, once you get to know them, some fighters are actually really funny, but no one else knows that they're funny because they have like this hard exterior. Think of like a guard dog or like an elite soldier. Those are the fighters. All they care about is effectiveness. You kind of, every gym has one. There's a guy in the gym who is like, we're on time, we're going to do it like this. Or maybe it's a certain guy in the gym where everyone knows like you could play with him, but you can't play with him like that. Because if he's not going to let you, or she is not going to let you slide like that. Like, hey, bro, like we don't, like I'm like, we cool, but I don't get down like that. I think in life, we have a lot of these types of people. These stern, serious people. Keep in mind, they're not everyone's like this, but this is like the extreme case. But there's people like this. Maybe they're not stern and angry, but all they care about is the effectiveness of the art. That's all they care about. So the problem with these particular guys is it's good. You would see most of these guys are really great fighters, but the problem is they don't have good business skills. So because they don't have good business skills, they get screwed over a lot by promotions. We might have to talk about that, how scummy a lot of amateur fight promotions are. Yes, I say that a lot of you guys, if you're watching, you're scummy. Y'all don't even realize it. Scummy people. We're going to talk about that maybe another time. But not all, but a lot of them are scummy. And then so they get screwed. These type of fighters get screwed over in business deals. Then you have the creative intelligence part. What is creative intelligence? Poetry, art, music, like something that's non-physical, like intangible, that requires creativity, that's outside of fighting. A lot of these fighters don't have that. Like all their whole life is fighting. That's it. That's all they do. They go work and they come and fight. That's all they care about. So they don't have the creative intelligence skills. All their creative skill points went into fighting. And they don't have good social skills. These guys are really funny. Like, they're funny. Trust me. I think, honestly, all fighters and martial artists, they're funny. They're really funny. But everyone else doesn't know that. You get what I'm saying? Nobody knows that you're funny. It's just people in the gym that train with you know you're funny because they're used to you. It's kind of like an introvert. You kind of find out that introvert's actually really funny, but you have to know them. Like, you know what I'm talking about. So their social skills is bad. So you have bad business, bad social skills, like based on what everyone's seeing. And then, so what is it? Creative intelligence, social skills, business sense. And there was a fourth one I said. They don't have, effectiveness. They're good at effectiveness. Okay, yeah, there we go. So now let's go to the martial artists. And I'm about to show you guys why, like some people wonder, how is it that there are still fake martial artists that still exist? And here we are. So a martial artist, and this is what I have called myself. I said, like, if you look at my name, especially on YouTube, it says Smitty'Wit martial artist. And there's a difference between a martial artist and a real martial artist. So let me show you a great example. Actually, before I go to the martial artist, to give you a really good example of a fighter, think of prime Mike Tyson. Think of prime Mike Tyson. Okay, he didn't talk. He came in, he knocked people out, you know. Or think of, like, for MMA, for modern sense, Khabib Nurmagomedov. I would even say if Alex Pereira didn't talk as much, Alex Pereira. Who else? There's a bunch of people who, or Stipe Miocic. He's one. I would even say maybe kind of John Jones a little bit. But now let's go to the martial artist side. Let's go over here. So a martial artist does have creative intelligence, really good creative intelligence, and he has good social skills and good business awareness. Not all, they don't have all three, but the questionable part with martial artists is the effectiveness. You don't see a lot of martial artists like these social media martial art guys. You get what I'm saying? This is a stigma I constantly battle against, where people say, oh, like, all of Smitty's videos is him beating up white belts, or he's always in the gym just doing that. No matter how cool or where I go, everyone is always, not everyone, but there will always be a crowd that will be basically, they will challenge if I am real or not, if I'm a real martial artist. So a real martial artist and not fake martial artist, just a martial artist. This martial artist has maybe good business skills, maybe some creative intelligence, something that they pull outside of martial arts and they bring it into martial arts, such as those fake martial artists with the wushu stuff, and they make people believe that there's a touch of death type thing, and that they use social skills as well, but their effectiveness in whatever they're doing in fighting and being pressured is questionable. A real martial artist has those three things: the business skills, the social skills, and the creative intelligence, and he's effective. Okay? Like, and so you're probably thinking, like, oh, well, I want to be a martial artist. Yeah, but then you have to basically do what I'm doing. You see how I'm talking to you guys right now? This is like social skills, business. You get what I'm saying? And I'm explaining to you guys creative intelligence. Maybe another day I will show you guys, like, what creative intelligence means, like show you me drawing or me playing a guitar, stuff like that, and me bringing it into martial arts. So the problem is, though, let me kind of help you guys out. The main thing, if you're a fighter and you're hearing this and you're like, I don't feel like dealing with this, the main thing as a fighter is social skills. Social skills. I think that is the real problem and the bridge between this. So I'll kind of help you guys out. So let's look at Bruce Lee, for example. And we're going to also use Muhammad Ali as an example. But Bruce Lee. So Bruce Lee was a martial artist, but you hear stories that Bruce Lee was a real martial artist. We have never seen, there is nothing ever besides movies that shows Bruce Lee really fighting. Okay, I'm not discrediting Bruce Lee. I love Bruce Lee. He's just an example. So there will always be the case of, was Bruce Lee real? Was he legit? But Bruce Lee was showing MMA way in the 60s, and MMA, modern MMA, actually tips their hat to what he showed. And then you hear some fighters saying, no, Bruce Lee was real. He was effective. He actually really beat people up. You see what I'm saying? He was a real martial artist. Or people say, oh, he was a real fighter. He was a fighter too. He wasn't just a martial artist, he was a fighter. So remember, fighter is about effectiveness. A lot of these fighters really only care about effectiveness, but they lack the social skills. Now, let's enter Muhammad Ali. So, some people, I know some of you guys are gonna roll your eyes, because I know there's a stigma with black people always constantly thinking they've created something. But we have Muhammad Ali, and I'm about to take you guys through a history tour. So there is an academic term called playing by the dozens, okay? That means basically roasting. That came from black people. So if you don't know what playing by the dozens actually means, is back in the day during slavery, and we're talking about black African Americans. This is what we're talking about. So this is what African Americans have done into fighting and why today you see press conferences and stuff. Let me help you out. So back in the day, they would take 12 slaves, right? And then they'll put them on the block to be sold, okay? And then while they're sitting there and everyone's trying to figure out which one is the better slave, they would hurl insults at them and laugh at them and stuff like that. You know, it's kind of how, like, and what black people do, let me stay on topic. Black Americans, people don't know because people don't think black Americans have a culture. We have a way of remixing things. We like to remix things where we take it and we turn it upside its head. So if you take the N word, for example, the hard R was taken off and now it's an Nigga. You get what I'm saying? So instead of is you know, like we switched it. So instead of like, I don't want to get flagged, but you know what I'm saying. A hard R is a black man hanging from a tree, and is a black man with a loud black man with a gold rope hanging around his neck. Okay, this is very important. Like, please follow me. Like, this is so important. So, with Playing by the Dozens, when black men were sold off, that morphed into young kids saying "yo mama" jokes. Okay. Like, yo mama is so this and that. It's to show that I'm better than you. You know, like, I'm the one who's going to get picked by the best master. Kind of like that's where it actually came from, but it flipped. All right. Just follow me. You have to follow me here. So this roasting thing that black Americans did, Muhammad Ali came and he turned around and he brought that into the popular culture zeitgeist. He started talking smack. He was just constantly talking, and he was quick-witted with that because he grew up with that. That's why black folks are actually good, because we grow up talking mess to each other. Okay? So when Muhammad Ali did that, now everyone expects a fighter to be quick-witted. That is social skills. But the problem is that you can't, like, for a lot of fighters, they're like, well, I have to, like, I don't feel like doing all that. I just want to be effective at my art. What everyone's actually asking for is a martial artist. Muhammad Ali, yes, boxing is a martial art. Muhammad Ali was a martial artist. Or, this is actually better, because I was telling you guys, not all fighters are heavy and stern. Muhammad Ali was a fighter that understood great social skills. That's why I believe social skills is the bridge between a martial artist and a fighter. Social skills. But then when you go into business sense and creative thinking, you know, that's when you have, that's why a lot of these guys, like, if you pay attention, some like Dana White, for example, like Dana White is the guy who owns UFC. He was like a boxer before, or he liked he's a big fan of boxing, but he wasn't effective at boxing, but he helped create and build up MMA due to his love of fighting. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of martial artists turn into businessmen. So that's something that you need to keep in note. A lot of them turn into businessmen. So I lost my thought of where I was going with that. But yeah, so that, like, social skills is like the bridge of it. And honestly, like, yeah, that's really like the difference. A martial artist, like, you're probably thinking like, oh, well, I want to be a martial artist. Well, the problem with a martial artist is people are always going to wonder if you are a real fighter. Oh, that's where I was going to go. Why the UFC is struggling to have stars. But people are going to always wonder if you're a real fighter. And if you're a fighter and you want to focus on being a fighter, I think you just naturally fall into it. You're just naturally like, yeah, I just want to beat people up, you know? You should really focus on social skills, like building up your social skills. This is why you don't see like a lot of fighters on social media captivating a lot of people. They don't have good social skills. You'd be shocked. A lot of fighters don't like to talk, or they don't know how to talk, actually. And this is why in the UFC is struggling to have a superstar, because you had Conor McGregor, right? Conor McGregor was a martial artist, and you see he's a businessman now. He hasn't fought at all. He's just dangling along, but the UFC is now filled with a lot of fighters now. There is filled with a lot of fighters. Like George St. Pierre, for example, was a real martial artist. You see what I'm saying? Now he's in business, yada yada. He wasn't just a fighter that had good social skills. He's a businessman as well. So I hope that helps. I could talk about this forever. I'm probably gonna make more videos on it, but that's the difference between a real martial artist and a fighter.